économiques et des organisations philanthropiques. Mesdames et messieurs, les représentants des médias, honorables invités, chers amis, professeur Peter Anyang Nyong'o, gouverneur du comté de Kisumu, Madame Lupita Nyong'o, ambassadeur de bonne volonté pour le sommet Africités, vaillant peuple de Kisumu et du Kenya, je vous apporte les salutations des 16 000 collectivités territoriales et de leurs 51 associations nationales regroupées au sein de l'Organisation de cités et gouvernements locaux unis d'Afrique. Je vous remercie, Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République, d'avoir bien voulu accorder votre haut patronage à cette 9e édition du sommet Africités organisée par CGLU Afrique en collaboration avec le gouvernement du comté de Kisumu, le Conseil des gouverneurs du Kenya et le gouvernement de l'État du Kenya. Je vous remercie tous, très sincèrement, d'avoir répondu présent à cette cérémonie officielle et vous exprime par ma voix la joie de la communauté africaine des collectivités territoriales de nous retrouver si nombreux et en personne à ce rendez-vous unique de dialogue avec l'Afrique des peuples, le cœur battant. Le choix de Kisumu pour accueillir cet incontournable rendez-vous de tous ceux qui sont concernés par la gouvernance locale en Afrique est un acte de foi qui manifeste la conviction de CGLU Afrique qu'en partant de ces villes et territoriales, plus spécifiquement de celles intermédiaires, l'Afrique peut sûrement renouveler sa réflexion sur sa transformation structurelle et son développement durable. Les villes intermédiaires sont le reflet le plus fidèle de l'état du développement de nos pays. Elles sont en effet en prise directe avec leur interland rural, dont elles sont le centre des services pour les populations des zones rurales, et les places de marché sur lesquelles s'appuie le développement des économies locales. Elles sont donc les lieux stratégiques les mieux appropriés pour relever le défi soulevé par la triple crise sanitaire, écologique et de la gouvernance des affaires publiques. C'est pour cette raison que le comité politique Africités a proposé de réfléchir sur le rôle des villes intermédiaires dans la mise en œuvre de l'agenda 2030 des Nations Unies et de l'agenda 2060 de l'Union africaine. Je suis convaincu que le sommet Africités fera date dans la longue marche qui mène vers la renaissance de l'Afrique. Je souhaite à tous de fructueux échanges et plein succès à nos travaux. Je vous remercie de votre aimable attention.
Thank you so much, the President of United Cities and Local Government UCLG Africa. Your Excellency, allow me now to invite the Undersecretary, the Executive Director of United Nations Human Settlement Program, Nairobi, Ms. Maimuna Hood Sharif, to make a brief remark. Welcome, Madam.
Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Musa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, Cabinet Secretary for Devolution, Your Excellency Peter Anyang Nyongjo, Governor of Kisumu, Your Excellency Martin Wambora, Chairperson of the Council of Governors of Kenya, Madam Christine Nutume, President of the United Cities of Local Government of Africa, UCLGA, John Pera Elong Embassy, the General Secretary of UCLGA, honorable members of the UCLG Africa, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Habaria usubuhi. Mr. President and Your Excellency, let me take this opportunity to thank the organizers who have worked very hard with the support of many young people in the city of Kisumu to make this summit possible. I always look forward to meeting young people, especially women and girls, whose future is intimately tied to the United Nations Human Settlement Agenda. When a young child born this year celebrates her 18th birthday, she will join other Africans in building an urban future. More likely than not, it will be in an intermediate city. By 2050, 50% of all Africans will live in areas. She will be among the additional 1.4 billion people that will be born or will migrate to urban settlement. I would like also to try to imagine that what future will be like for our young women and young boys born in 2022 today. Today, more than 64% of the urban population in Africa live in informal settlements. There is a deficit of housing and housing finance, with only 15% of urban dwellers in Africa able to afford to purchase their own homes. Depending on where our young lady is born, it will be a major battle to get a job, own a home, and start a family. This is the urban future she will have if we do nothing to change the urban agenda in Africa. What is the role of the intermediate cities? Your Excellency, Mr. President, I would like to recognize your contribution to Africa and the people of Kenya. Your foresight and investment made by the government of Kenya in housing, infrastructure, industry and job creation will be felt many decades to come. You have successfully created an abode of peace and development in East Africa, a model for a continent and the rest of us in the developing world. Congratulations to you, Mr. President. Thank you for taking the initiative to host this important summit during the unprecedented times when the world is experiencing the effect of what I call the confluence of the three C's: climate, conflict, and COVID-19. This perfect storm is increasing the social economic vulnerability of cities, often overlook our intermediate cities. Too small to be made a national priority, but not big enough to be independently resilient. Kenya, under your leadership, is showing the way to foster closer cooperation and resource allocation between national and local government. This is helping to deliver resources to communities most in need. In the last 50 years, the United Nations in Africa have contributed to ensuring that urban communities have had greater access to basic services, transport infrastructure, and now digital connectivity. Our engagement with more than 30 countries in Africa has given us opportunities to foster collaboration with both national and local governments towards prosperous, safe and resilient cities in Africa, with the support of the development of national urban policies in 20 countries in Africa. I would like to appreciate the collaboration with the government of Kenya at both national and country level in the sector of housing, physical planning, promoting resilience for the urban poor, waste management, and on the Blue Economy initiative for coastal cities planning being jointly carried out by UN Habitat and UNEP to boost the circular economy with the financial support of the European Union. I cannot overemphasize our great collaboration with Kisumu County on the lakefront development, on municipal revenue enhancement, and on local economic development for long-term recovery from COVID-19. And I believe the new United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework under leadership of the UN Resident Coordinator will foster further collaboration with the government of Kenya and will offer an opportunity to the whole UN family to accelerate the Sustainable Development Goals in Kenya. Let me also highlight the UN strategic plan and our focus on housing, Mr. President, climate adaptation and localization of the Sustainable Development Goals. I understand that we must not leave our rural communities. The first goal of the UN Habitat Strategy Plan is all about urban and rural linkages. This is why we are supporting this summit wholeheartedly. Mr. President, 65 of my staff are here in this Kisumu Africities. That shows the commitment of UN Habitat to you. We believe that the transformation will come from the intermediate cities. It is not about reversing urbanization, but what we need to do is to make it equitable. Let me also appreciate the collaboration with your UCLG Africa on capacity development for local government and our recent collaboration jointly with UNECA on voluntary local reviews. These include local governments to actively participate in SDG reporting. The participation of local government has deepened our understanding about socio-economic impact of COVID-19, allowing government to be more targeted in their resource allocation to deliver help to those the most in need. I hope that the ongoing joint work in Kisumu on local economic development can be scaled up in the country and at the regional level. We should remind ourselves that ultimately the goal for all of us is to see an African continent which shows inclusive growth and sustainable development, social transformation and improvement in the standard of living and quality of life in both rural and urban areas. To accelerate the implementation of the SDG 2030 and the African Union Agenda 2063, we all need to work together. The United Nations, other stakeholders, including national and local governments, non-state actors, and including the private sectors. I look forward to seeing the conclusion of the summit translated into action in the 11th session of the World Urban Forum in Katowice, Poland on the 26th to 30th of June this year, and we can conclude the commitments of this summit on intermediate cities in Katowice declared action. As I conclude, let us recall the young woman born in 2022 in my earlier part of my speech. I am confident that if she is fortunate to be born in Kenya, and she will have a strong foundation to get a good education, a steady job, and opportunity one day, Mr. President, to be the first woman president of the country. So, Mr. President, thank you for your support you have shown to UN Habitat and our mandate, more importantly, for your leadership as a champion for sustainable urbanization in Africa. It is our hope that urbanization as a vehicle for economic growth in Africa and will be featured in an African Union summit to come. Wishing you all a successful 9th edition of the Africities Summit here in Kisumu. Thank you. Asante sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Maimuna Mood Sharif, the Undersecretary, Executive Director of the United Nations Human Settlement Program, Nairobi. Your Excellency, the Permanent Presidential Music Commission has organized for us a production of the theme song. Welcome the production team.
Africities, leo tunafurahia. Afrika moja wewe. Kisumu, Kisumu pacho, leo tunakaribisha. Afrika moja wewe. Kenya, Kenya mama yangu wa, tunafika kwa kundi moja. Tunasema kwa sauti moja. Hatuna pole, hatuna uoga wowote mama. Africa, Africities, endeni tujiunge. Kisumu, Kisumu pacho, Kisumu dala. Oh, 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 oh. Wafika viongozi wetu wanataka kuinua Afrika mama wetu, wanasema kwa sauti moja, wanataka kuinua viongozi wetu. Tusiogope, tusirudi nyuma wewe, tunao viongozi watusema tuneni mbele, tunao viongozi pamoja. Africa, Africities, endeni tujiunge. Kisumu, Kisumu pacho, Kisumu dala. From north to south, from east to west, we have the power to rise. Kisumu dala. From north to south, from east to west, we have Africities. Endeni tujiunge. Kisumu, Kisumu pacho, Kisumu dala. Kisumu pacho, Kisumu dacho. Oh, Kisumu dacho, Kisumu dacho.
Thank you so much to our production team, the Permanent Presidential Music Commission, and the Kisumu County for that well-elaborate theme song. Let's applaud them with a more loud applause. Thank you. Your Excellency, allow me now to request we focus on the screens for video messages. I would request that we play them back to back. We'll start with the Africities Ambassador Lupita Nyong'o, to be followed by United Nations Deputy Secretary General, Excellency Mrs. Amina Mohammed, and the U.S. Special President Envoy on Climate, John Kerry. The video messages.
Firsthand. It has so much to offer, and I can potentially. Hello all, and welcome to the 9th Africities Summit in Kisumu. My name is Lupita Nyong'o, and and I have the great honor of being the Africities Goodwill Ambassador this year. Now, Kisumu County is my ancestral home, and I have witnessed its potential firsthand. It has so much to offer, and I can finally see its vibrant energy being tapped with the radical leadership of its current governor, my father, Professor Peter Anyang Nyong. Well, I'm biased. You will see for yourself. I'm honored to stand by his side now as he hosts this important summit, as he has so often stood by mine. I could not think of a better place to come together to discuss tangible solutions for the challenges facing Africa and its intermediary cities than the Africities Summit. Over the next 5 days, you will participate in interactive sessions. You will hear from inspirational speakers, take workshops, implement projects, and dream up the Africa we want to see. One where everyone has access to food, healthcare, education, housing, public safety, and peace. I wish I could be there in person with you all, but I will be on this journey with you from afar as we lay the groundwork for Africa's renaissance. Now, let's begin.
Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Macky Sall, President of the Republic of Senegal, Your Excellency Moussa Faki Mohammed, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellency President Olusegun Obasanjo, Excellencies, friends and colleagues, it is my great honor to address the opening session of the Africities Summit. Thank you to the Government of Kenya, to the County of Kisumu, and the United Cities and Local Governments, Africa, for hosting this important summit in the wonderful city of Kisumu. We are meeting in challenging times, marked by multiple interlinked crises and a proliferation of conflicts. At the same time, the world is in the midst of key transitions, from energy to the digital world. Among the emerging trendy lines, urbanization is a defining megatrend of the 21st century. We need to take advantage of it. The recent review of the New Urban Agenda provides insights into what a bottom-up approach to sustainable development in Africa could look like. Recognizing the centrality of the New Urban Agenda to other global agendas, notably our efforts to combat climate change. Acknowledging that COVID-19 has deepened inequalities and elevated the importance of cities. And addressing the gaps in capacities and financing countries face to achieve the sustainable urbanization. Africa is projected to have the world's fastest growing urban population over the next 30 years. Cities are producing more than 60% of GDP in Africa, and the rapid trend of urbanization across the continent offers new opportunities to accelerate economic and social transformations. Equitable, inclusive, and prosperous cities need to harness the full potential and participation of all citizens, especially women and our youth. The power of community action, especially youth action, which is our most important and dynamic human resource, can make a difference. While large and megacities will continue to attract people, effectively harnessing urbanization processes hinges on intermediary cities like Kisumu. Indeed, these cities must be at the heart of national urban strategies. Health emergencies, the climate crises and conflicts are increasingly urban phenomena. Local governments in Africa must be provided with the means and the resources to confront these challenges and deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals. Successful implementation of the SDGs requires unprecedented ownership by local actors. Together with UCLG and other partners, the United Nations has launched a Local 2030 Coalition, a platform designed to support and accelerate SDG delivery at the local level. We invite all of you to join this effort. Acting together, we can leverage well-planned and well-managed cities as engines for sustainable development and innovation here and across Africa. I thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share a few thoughts as you gather for this year's United Cities and Local Governments Africa Conference. To the presidents, mayors, and everyone else who has gathered for this meeting, thank you for your leadership and your dedication to this issue. It's fitting that you are all gathering some 6 months before Egypt will host COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, and that you'll focus the world's attention on the tremendous risks and opportunities ahead for Africa's growing cities of all sizes. I'm particularly grateful that you're shining a light on the role subnational actors can and frankly must play in the climate fight. Local leaders and community groups have always helped lead us forward on this issue, ever since I can remember being part of helping to organize the first Earth Day in 1970. And that is why, in the Paris Agreement, at COP26 in Glasgow and elsewhere, the world has recognized the critical role that you must continue to play in this fight. Here in Africa, you see the urgency of this moment. You're living it. You know the world is simply not moving fast enough to avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis and to hold the global temperature rise within the 1.5 degree limit. We're simply not getting this job done globally in the way that we ought to be. And you also know that you and your citizens are all on the front lines of the crisis. 17 of the world's 20 most climate vulnerable countries can be found in Africa. And that's the case even though 48 nations in sub-Saharan Africa are responsible for only 0.55% of total emissions. The most recent IPCC report told us the climate crisis is already here. You already knew that because you lived through it. Extreme heat waves, devastating droughts, changing planting seasons, and more punishing storms. But here's the good news. The IPCC also told us that we still have time to secure a cleaner, healthier, safer planet for all of us. That work starts here in Africa with the world's fastest growing populations. Our climate crisis is also an opportunity to seize smarter growth and better jobs. Take adaptation as an example. Preparing people for this warmer world can save lives and livelihoods, but it's also just plain old common sense. Roads, bridges, and ports can only spur economic growth and reduce poverty next year if they are built to survive the storms of tomorrow. Critical efforts are already underway in Africa, from Rwandan farmers using more accurate forecasting to Tunisian ports preparing for rising seas and flood risks. To support the adaptation work we have to engage in, at COP26, President Biden announced his President's Emergency Plan for Adaptation and Resilience. It's known as PREPARE. PREPARE brings together our diplomatic, development, and technical expertise to help more than 500 million people, including many millions in Africa, manage the impacts of the climate crisis by 2030. When it comes to finance, President Biden also pledged last year to quadruple U.S. international public climate finance to over $11 billion per year by 2024. And the private sector is finally showing up with the money that we need to invest in order to accelerate this transition, including in Africa, where multi-trillion-dollar industries are being created. In all of this work, we will continue to follow your lead. Over 1,000 cities and local governments, including many of Africa's major urban centers, have now committed to the Race to Zero and Race to Resilience campaigns. From strengthening green buildings in Cape Town to building water resilience in Addis and Kigali, you are showing us what is both necessary and possible. My friends, we know that human choices have caused this crisis, and therefore we know that human choices can put us back on the right path. That is exactly what you are helping to do today. So on behalf of President Biden and the entire United States government, thank you for your partnership, your friendship, and most of all, your leadership and your dedication to this effort. We are going to win this fight. And when we do, it will be because of leaders like you in Africa and across the planet. Thank you.
Welcome to the second most important democratic organization on the African continent after the African Union. Welcome to United Cities and Local Governments of Africa, the voice of local Africa. The umbrella represents nearly 350 million African citizens. The vision of UCLG Africa is building African unity and driving African development through the grassroots. GADD-EPA lays out the objectives of the organization, promote decentralization, structuring local government associations, building an Africa of peoples and territories, organize exchange platforms such as the Africities Summit, the governance, advocacy, and decentralized development program for Africa. GADD-EPA is the strategic vision for UCLG Africa, which aims to build Africa from the roots. UCLG Africa has developed a series of programs and interventions, including the mobilization of strategies, methods, and tools to support our members under our 7 areas of intervention: local economy and finance, climate, biodiversity and food security, gender and youth, basic service and sustainable development goal, migration, culture, peace and security. 10 reasons to join UCLG Africa. Support to decentralization, multiple expertise, training, projects, financing, coaching, territorial assistance, advocacy, dialogue between elected representatives, networks. Welcome to United Cities and Local Governments of Africa, the voice of local Africa.
Let us appreciate that well presentation. Thank you. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me, with all humility and my singular duty, to invite the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Mauso Faki, to make his remarks. Welcome, Your Excellency. Let's appreciate His Excellency as he takes the podium. Welcome, sir.
Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellency President Ford, former President of the Seychelles, Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Special African Union Envoy for Infrastructure, Madame Christine Mba-Ndoutoumé, Présidente des cités et gouvernements locaux unis d'Afrique, Ms. Maimouna Mohamed Sherif, Under Secretary General and Executive Director of UN Habitat, Professor Anyana Ngo, Governor of Kisumu County, distinguished ministers, regional governors and mayors, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, President Uhuru Kenyatta, dear brother. for inviting me to this auspicious official opening of the 9th Summit of Africa Cities held in this magnificent intermediary city of Kisumu. President, you show once more your leadership and dedication for Kenya and for the implementation of African Union Agenda 2063. And thank you for encouraging me to speak English. I would like to congratulate the United Cities and Local Government of Africa, the Government of the Republic of Kenya, Governors of Kenya and the Kisumu County Government for the unprecedented organization of the summit and the warm hospitality extended to us. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, embraces the theme of this summit of Africities, of the role of intermediary cities in the implementation of Agenda 2030 of the United Nations and Agenda 2063 of the African Union. Intermediary cities have a crucial role on urbanization policy and have become a renewed subject of interest for governments, international organizations, and academics. Intermediary cities are growing fast and have the greatest potential to shape the urban future, and yet they are often overlooked. Much attention has been paid to capital cities, which are the political, social, and economic centers of a country. As a result, our economies fail to realize the benefits that a more balanced spatial development and intercity collaboration can generate. The growth of intermediary cities implies an increase in wealth, inequalities, need for housing, infrastructure and urban services, pollution, need for decent jobs, increased waste production, and therefore, their role needs to be recognized and clarified. If left alone to manage themselves without a clear role, cities will manifest into chaotic development. Cities have their unique challenges and potentials. Therefore, clarification of their role should take into consideration their peculiarities. Ladies and gentlemen, I am particularly pleased to see that the summit has chosen linking the global UN agenda to Africa's agenda as a template of how to think global while acting locally to African aspiration and distinct cultural realities. Africa, like the rest of the world, has committed itself to the implementation of the United Nations agenda and the new urban agenda. Furthermore, the continent's agenda 2063 outlines not only our aspiration for the future, but also identifies key flagship programs which can boost Africa's economic growth and development and lead to the rapid transformation of the continent. The three agendas have powerfully captured the role of cities and their envisioned cities that fulfill their social, economic, ecological, and political function in an inclusive manner. At the continent level, the African Union has developed a regional framework for the implementation of the new urban agenda. The AU has developed also the African Charter on Values and Principles of Decentralization, Local Governance, and Local Development to facilitate implementation of decentralization, which remains a challenge in many countries. This instrument serves as a sound foundation for guiding the development of our cities, as well as clarifying your role as local authorities in intermediary cities. With your experience and key role as mayors and governors, it is now up to you